Gentlemen, and welcome once again to Grigsby's War in the West as we continue. So, we are going fairly well, and I'm also streaming this, so that'd be quite interesting. Hopefully get a few questions in here. So, yes, moving on then. Now then, we do have the Porta Messina to contend with the German forces over Schmal's Panzergrenadier Brigade and the 4th Fallschirmjäger Division. The 4th Fallschirmjägers are obviously going to be quite a difficult proposition to deal with, so in fact we are not going to engage with them at all. Now we do have the 36th US Infantry Division over here. I'm going to move them over to this side of the island, and then importantly what we can do here is we can move another force. The 2nd US Armoured can move over here. There we go. Just enough capacity to take them off the train as well, which is fantastic. Right, can't yet unload you, but that's fine. The British Armoured will have move over to here, actually. There's not much in the way of capacity, so we do have to be quite aware of that. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, there's very little capacity of free freight left. So that's going to make the logistical effort a little bit more difficult due to the fact that there's not exactly any spare. So most of the freight going into the island of Sicily will be from the ports and not too much on the island, other than truck-borne or horse-borne transportation. Either way, that works out okay for this turn. We have most of the island under our control anyway. Right, so we're going to have this invasion set up. Now then, we did talk about the invasion over here to the north, which I do think is indeed a good plan. We do need to increase the amount of troops that we do have landing over here. I imagine there to be stiff resistance. It's a very dangerous idea to land just north of Rome. It might be a better idea to land north of this range here, perhaps. It might give us a little breathing room. The only issue is there's no other ports for some miles to the north, which is not good. Ideally, we want to capture these ports down here, so an ideal situation would be a good, strong effort here, perhaps. I think we'll hedge our bets and land over here then. Okay, they'll build up preparation. We do have British forces over here. We need to have them targeted so we can begin the preparation building. Right. We'll have British forces targeted down here then. Oh, well, actually, no, we have American forces being targeted there. We'll change that direction then. Never mind. Keep it there. That'll be fine. The absolute most important thing is just basically having the sheer numbers and firepower available as soon as possible. Okay, we'll move up these 2 divisions. Okay. Do we already have a depot in Barcelona? We do not. I was hoping we would be able to create a depot. Might be doable in the next phase then, perhaps. We'll have to see. Okay. So we have some more US armored over here. I have you spare, we need to have you moved up. Okay. How are we doing then in terms of actual airborne forces? Well, planes. Right, we have a good amount on the actual island itself. We're going to be concluding the invasion of Sardinia, hopefully, in this episode. How much preparation do we have? 30 there, and 36 here. It's going to take some time, a couple turns, but we should be able to invade after that. Do we have the airborne targeted? We do have these forces over here. These forces over here still need to move up. So we'll have the rest of the airborne move up, and then we'll have them re-targeted. We do have these guys over here. They are targeted. Where are you targeted? Over here. Okay, that's good. I would have ideally liked to have had more airborne. Airborne are going to be in very, very important things. Especially as we're going to need them to really cut off the railroads over here. And to some degree cause some chaos in the Axis lines. Okay, now, how are we going in production? In production. Right, we can see the numbers that we've lost here. Quite high. Okay. So we have a lot of Sherman 5s. A hell of a lot of them. Obviously that's the Commonwealth designation. Let's see, we'll go to the USA and take a look at the designation for the Shermans. Right. Yes, the M4A3. The M4A1 is the most common type, it seems. Obviously, we do have the greatest production capacity for the M4 Sherman, the basic model, with the 75. Right, the M4A3. When do we gain access to the larger models? Right, okay. Production filter is on now. Okay. So those are mediums. M5A1 Stuart. Okay. Right, we'll turn off production filter. So we do have the M4A3 76mm Sherman, which we gain access to in 1944. So not anytime soon. It's not too far away, but it's not anytime soon. The M4A3 with the 105mm howitzer. That's a fantastic suppression weapon. Again, 44. I need something with a little bit more oomph. Let's see, what do the British have? Yeah, we're hardly churning out any Churchills. There's not many Churchills. Right, a Grant. Churchill Crocodile, we don't have many of those. Challengers. Interesting. Yes, I was hoping for something with a little bit more oomph to it, but that'll do. I mean, we'll have the Sherman Jumbos in time, so that's fine. Okay, we'll go ahead and take our efforts forward. And hello there, Jaroslav. Carmen? Yep. The game is fantastic. It's relatively simple once you get into it. It's one of those things, it really seems difficult on the surface, and it is and it isn't. It's one of those things. It's like anything, once you have like a basic idea of how things work and, importantly, why they work. I think why they work is probably the most important thing. You can understand the basic concept, but understanding why it works and how, it's a very difficult thing. Especially as the different game conditions. Like, why does Trapani not receive supplies, while as Palermo does receive supplies? You may have a basic grasp of like how supply distribution works, but obviously priorities and then different effects. It's very involved. Ideally, I would like a depot behind, well, to support the forces of Messina. It's not mandatory to read the whole manual. To be honest, I've been very much a proponent of just getting into the games. I've always been one just to get into the Grigsby games. Much to the consternation of people on the war in the Pacific forums. I'm not entirely too well liked on there. Then again, Matrix did post my terrible first video, and that was indeed terrible. But yeah, it's something you can get into. Yeah, you do not need to be afraid to press N-turn. To be honest, pressing N-turn, it really allows you to discover a lot of different things. It just reveals a whole lot of what's going on there. You get to see how things work. I'm very much looking forward to War in the East too, because it's going to be absolutely amazing. Just being able to use the logistics system and just show people just how that works. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Still trying to get my way into the War in the East 2 beta. I'm hoping they'll relent one day. Okay, so we are targeting the oil. Fuel. Are we targeting oil? No, yes, we are targeting oil. Right. Let's screw the manpower. You can have as many men as you like, but at the end of the day, if they're not armed or trained very well, it doesn't really matter. Ground support, we need air superiority above all. Interdiction and railway, interdiction and the units is up there. We'll go with the units. I want them to hit the units pretty hard. As far as this is concerned, I'm still happy with these doctrines regarding Northern Europe and just industry in general in the Mediterranean theatre. Right, so we'll have the AA manage the movement of our air forces and we'll execute said directives. I would say War in the West is significantly easier due to the fact that you have this really good air doctrine like mechanic, which is really good. It takes a lot of the guesswork out. But the thing is, you can get really into it. You can really change things and do whatever you like. You can assign different planes, you can split squadrons up. It's very involved. Yeah, regarding your question there, Yaroslav, One in the East is probably the better, more enjoyable war game between One in the West and One in the East. That's due to the nature of the actual campaign. You don't at the start of Barbarossa. You have a lot of opportunity to do things, whereas in One in the West, things are already kind of decided to a degree. I mean, it's like, as the Axis, you can try to repel the invasions, but ultimately, you still can't win in the East. It's just too far gone at this point. Though in the future, they are talking about making a War in Europe game. So basically, one where you have both the Western theatre and the Eastern theatre in one game. That would be absolutely insane. I don't know if it would start with the invasion of Poland, or with the invasion of France, or perhaps with... It's one of those things, it's like very difficult to model the French surrender. You would have to have a set of parameters in there, which a lot of people might not agree with, especially if you're playing the Allies. So perhaps, maybe with the invasion of the West, perhaps. I don't know. Let them figure that out. Okay. So, slightly above average for the losses there. Good amount of losses for the Axis. We'll go to here. And we'll take a look at the factory damage. Right, good, that's completely knocked out. We do seem to knock out this factory in Rostock quite often. Synthetic fuel is more than likely going to be reducing. We'll call anything below 80%. More than likely going to produce. I mean, we'll just call it it's going to produce. Anything below 80 is more than likely going to produce. And we'll call anything above 80% something of a success, not a guaranteed success. Obviously, 90% chance I'll call it something of a success, 100% chance obviously it is a success, like over here in Terni. Right, so we hit south of Paris, we hit Versailles, northern Paris. So we're hitting the Paris area quite a lot, but not as hard as it probably should be. Right now, freight. Let's see. Where are we looking? Right, okay. So Syracuse received 40,275 tons of freight. Gila received 13,423. Catania 16,446. Siaka 12,723 tons. And then Palermo 15,879 tons. So Syracuse is definitely the main port at the moment, right now, production. So, we've exported, right, ground element exports from USA to Britain, okay. So we've had 20 MT2 Locust exports from the USA to Britain, a few Shermans to the Commonwealth, aircraft exports. Right, here we go, production. 19,600 vehicles produced in 1,960 vehicle factories. It's not bad. Manpower. I mean, as the Allies, you're not going to run out of anything, really. It's just, yeah, the arsenal of democracy, along with the actual access to international trade. That does make a big thing. Now, upgrades. supply. Right, here we go. So you can see things a little bit more clear here. It would be nice to sort it by theatre. That would be fantastic. It kind of is and kind of isn't. Right, Palermo ships 8,940 supply from pool to... Okay. Righto. Upgrades. Ammo, can't see that. Replacements. 64 damage AFVs return to pool, 6 damage AFVs are not repairable. That's a shame. Population, partisans, air execution, so we can obviously see what's happened here. Eastern Front, I'm not entirely sure what this means at this moment in time. That's something I'm actually not aware of. Leader, okay. So we do have about 61 administration points over here. I think we should take a look at actually changing over some of the leaders. Right, can we have you shipped? Yep, we can. I'll take you off of the ship. Have you move out over there. Okay, move you to Catania. Right. Let's see. Preparation 3. 35. 42. Getting very close. Can't seem to target them for some reason. Unless they're already targeted. I'll just keep them at that target. If that works, that works. Right, which was that? 148. Ah, you're still targeted over here, aren't you? 145. Yes, there we go. Okay, so we'll set a new airborne target. So we'll set you... possibly over here. I think that might be a decent one. It does block that port. And ideally what I want to do then is probably knock this rail line out. So I think I might drop them over here. They're far away from actual support and they're more than likely going to die. So in fact we'll reconsider that and have them drop with the rest of the forces. There's no point making them into martyrs when they could in fact be heroes. Right, there we go. We have these forces over here as well now. Have them reassigned to the Free French Corps for the moment in time. Do we need to have them targeted? It probably may help us out just to have a large amount of airborne. I'm targeting this area over here because ideally it's undefended. Okay. Right, we'll create a depot here. Priority 3 should be fine. As you can see, that's going to send supplies out over here. It's a shame that we don't have another rail connection here. Okay, we need to get you back over to here. Can't unload them as of this moment in time, but that's fine. Right. So we are getting VPs from the bombing. Now, this is something I do need to keep a check on. The total number of AFEs ready. Ours is 6,114, so roughly twice that of the... Well, it's not quite that... not quite twice that of the Axis. Close enough. Ready guns, not quite double. Amount of men, not quite double. Seems to be the big thing here. We don't have overwhelming superiority in numbers. I mean, bear in mind that we're only facing the Wehrmacht in Europe, and not the rest of the here out here in the east, which the Soviets aren't into They're not here yet. In time they will, once they see Army Group Center collapse. Okay. We may start a probing attack over here just to see what sort of defenses we're facing. Ideally we stop them from digging in deeper. Then again, they're already at level 3 security. Well, sorry, level 3 fortifications. In a city. It's just not going to happen. Okay. Let's see. So we're targeting this area over here then. So we did have a lot of losses here from the tactical force. That's fine. Just keep them busy. Right, what can we expect from the weather? Okay, so it should be fairly decent. The weather shouldn't affect us for at least another week or two. So that's fine. Okay, we'll go ahead. There's not a whole lot to be doing at the moment while we're waiting for our preparation to grow. Obviously, we do need to have our forces in Britain made ready. I do believe I will go for the invasion of Brittany. The issue that we might face is the fact that we'll find it easier to unload troops, perhaps. Due to the amount of forces in the area being much less significant. We're not going to... Well, we may be, perhaps, facing a Panzer division. It just depends. Obviously, what we'll have to do is, before we launch the invasion of Brittany, is we're going to have to really ramp up the attacks on the rail lines. Just absolutely devastate those rail lines. Really make it very difficult for any capacity to get through. And importantly, their interdiction to be a major thing. We need to interdict any panzers or infantry divisions or panzer grenadier divisions. That would be ideal. Okay. I'm just hoping that the vast majority of the Axis forces in Italy will be down towards Reggio Calabria, and obviously the area around Messina. The idea being that the Axis, well, the AI is going to be thinking, right, hold on, hold the phone. There's a bunch of allied forces in Sicily. I haven't quite lost Sicily as of this moment in time. Therefore, it's strategic for me to hold on to Messina and prevent the allied forces from having full control of Sicily. I mean, the Sicilian campaign hasn't gone quite as well as I would have hoped for. I was hoping that we would have been able to secure the entire island, but this works out slightly better in some ways. Okay, attritional losses, basically. Right, we're going to have these same air directives set. Though with the Tactical Air Mediterranean, what we're going to do is we're going to have the airfields targeted at full priority. So set that new directive. There we go. In fact, we may... The issue is this one's going to hit Europe and the Mediterranean. If I could really sort of have like a strategic Mediterranean, strategic Europe, that would have been nicer. But that's fine, we'll go ahead with that then. We'll have the AI manage our air forces, move them around, make it work. We'll execute a directive. I could do with seeing what's in the National Reserve for the actual aircraft. It's an interesting thing regarding the occupation of France. I mean, France obviously had resources and it had a lot of heavy industry. obviously things that the Germans needed during the wartime. So, the issue with the occupation was if the French resistance did obviously kill German soldiers, then the reprisals were much more vicious. Basically, you kill one of our soldiers, we'll kill 10 of your people, sort of thing. So, the resistance really became focused on preventing the exploitation of resources from France to Germany. Basically make it more expensive to occupy France than, obviously, the positives of occupying France. Make it difficult so they can't get anything out. And obviously on D-Day, I think it's either D-Day +1 or +2 or even +3. It might have been +3. When the code word went out to the French resistance. And a hell of a lot of railways and a lot of roads. And obviously just industrial centres were targeted. All at once. Nah, primordial. I would say that the one in the east is actually a hell of a lot easier. But in some ways, it's easy because you can kind of see what's going on. You can see things laid out before you. It's more so just managing everything. Just like keeping the overall and overarching idea in your mind. Obviously, you can take your time. You can take as much time as you need to play these games. That's what I like. I've very much fallen out of favour with real-time strategies and more so come to the turn-based just because you can take your time. And I like that. I'm not as young as I used to be, not as quite as spry. Okay. Factory damage. Worthless. That's okay. Good. Again. Oh, it's hitting that factory in Rostock. Right, yeah, that's a pretty heavy hit there, Dusseldorf. 25 and 35, quite heavy. Okay. Really low losses over here, actually. Okay. So we are fighting for control of the ferry. Yes, oh Jesus Christ. That is a lot of AA. That is in fact a hell of a lot of AA. I'd say there's possibly more AA over Messina than there is over Berlin. Which obviously would make sense because Berlin is not a easy to access target and there's a lot of Luftwaffe in the way of that. But there's a lot of guns. There's a hell of a lot of guns. 90mm AA guns. 88mm AA guns. That's pretty hardcore. Christ, no longer we're using... Well, we're losing planes over here. Ah, dear hell. Indeed, Hostanta. Messina it's just difficult. Therefore, I'm not even going to really attempt taking it. We do have a large amount of force here, but it's just not worth it. What's the point of doing it? It's just not worth it. I might as well do something else and take the pressure off. Okay. Do I have these forces actually assigned to this? I don't think I actually do, like, okay. Oh, it's because I just assigned them, that's right. Okay, never mind. I would say Moscow is probably harder to take than Leningrad. At least with Leningrad you can use the terrain to your advantage. Whereas with Moscow, it's open terrain. There's swamps around Moscow, there's a hell of a lot of villagers, there's a lot of forests. It's very open, there's a lot of railway access for the Red Army. It's incredibly difficult. I think Moscow is probably by far the hardest city to take. Right, 40 preparation, 48. We should be able to go with these forces over here by next turn. It may be possible to do so with just these forces in the Airborne. Maybe possible. Would it be worthwhile? Possibly not. Well, probably not. Might as well wait until we get the rest of the forces. Okay, have these forces reassigned. Okay. How are we going with this depot then? Right, we need these rails repaired. That would probably help. Might as well convert these rails while we're over here. Wouldn't hurt. Okay. Let's create the depot over here as well then. So we're on morale here. Supplies. Now if we go to the commander's log over here, the commander's report. Let's see. Ah, shit. Right, so we've reduced the supply priority of a few formations here. What we'll be able to do then is increase it for certain ones. Well, obviously the tacticals. Let's just go to the... Right. Obviously these want to be on 4. These don't matter. Okay. I had a 3, but we'll have it, obviously the 8th British Army and the 7th US Army as level 4 priority. There we go. Right, that'll work out okay. Now what I want to do is go over here and go to... Freight, here we go. Okay, so the 8th British Army. Replacements required. So here's our totals. So we are missing about 175,814 men. We need about 28,883 tons of freight. We received 39,540 tons of freight, so that's pretty good. It's really good, in fact. Though whether that's combined with replacements, I do not know. Right, the amount of freight we're receiving is increasing, which is fantastic. Okay. Should be potentially ready to land in the following turns. What have we had in terms of reinforcements? So we had these forces over here. Right, okay. So we've got Indian infantry. We'll have them moved out to join with the British forces. And we do have the 1st Armoured over here, so we might have them join up over here then. Or in fact, just wait over here. This US Armoured, I'll have move with the... It's one of those things I need them elsewhere. Right. 28,000 tons of freight. The issue is the rest of your formation is over here. Okay. I may as well move them to join the rest. I know I brought them back. It's going to be weird otherwise. Insufficient capacity? Ah, right, yes, only 30,000 tons, and obviously we need more than that. Doi. Alright, we'll just have them move over here then. Where's that fine? Obviously you can see the rail here is suffering quite heavily. Pretty lightly. Okay. One more turn. Should be able to start some landings. Ideally I should wait for the other forces to be ready, like the Free French, to be ready to land as well. But in the interest of entertainment, I think I will go with just the one landing and obviously the airborne forces. Of course, we can ship in extra troops quite quickly once we do land and get a temporary port. I don't think the Italians or Germans will have much in the way on Sardinia, so we'll have to see. We will have to manually target the actual air doctrines this turn. The reason being, if I turn on amphibious support for the Mediterranean headquarters, they will try to support the mainland, and so they'll probably go for either Sardinia or the invasions of mainland Italy. Because obviously they've been planned. The AI is like, oh shit, I need to support this. I set up the mainland invasion just north of Rome. It is in fact dangerous. I fully understand that. But hey, we'll see if it works. Should be interesting if it does. Right, we do have rain. That's going to limit the effectiveness of our forces over Sardinia. Let's give it a moment to repair those air bases. There we go, logistics phrase. Okay, then. So, with this turn, we should possibly have the capability to launch an invasion. Can I see the preparation? 54 and 45. This one's taken significantly more time, which is irritating. Okay. So if we take a look at the actual doctrines at the moment, you can see here that obviously geared towards this area. So what we'll do then is change them, and then we'll have to have the AI move the planes around to make it work. Right, I mean the Maltese Air Command is going to find it difficult, but they'll have to adjust. Right, so select the target hex. Shit. And there we go. Yes, I would imagine they're planning to eventually put this up on Steam. It's strange that they haven't already. I suppose if they do put it up on Steam, I'm not entirely sure what amount of revenue they do have to share. And I suppose another thing would be, they could have a lot of people being like, hey, what's up with this game? Why is it so hard? Why are you guys so bad? You know what I mean? That sort of thing. A lot of criticism from a lot of people. So I can kind of understand why they haven't put it on yet. It would obviously be good if they did. Right, so let's have the AI move the air bases around. Obviously I can tell them to stage from different airfields. Japani works fine for me. Well, actually, I mean, we're just reconnaissance, we can have them stage from another air base. So we'll have them stage from that air base. You can see why I like the airfield around Japani. It allows me to actually be that much closer. Okay, let's keep it at Japani. And then we'll have you stage. The issue is there's no other large airfield, and I don't really want to fly from Sicily to Africa to Sardinia, so we'll fly from there. Okay. Also, we do have a lot of activity coming from this area over here. We do... What do we have? We have some level 2 airfields over here. Ideally, I'd like to capture a level 3 airfield. So what we may have, in fact, have to do is perhaps capture these airfields. I mean, these ones would be fine. Have these converted to level 3 airfields, perhaps? There's not too much in the way of airfields over here on this side of the island. We'll start upgrading this airfield. Which I can't remember how to do. I forget. Ah, there we go. Expand airbase. I was looking for that option. It's going to take some time, but we'll get that up there. Okay. Then over Europe, what have we typed in? Okay. We also do have a growing amount of forces within the United Kingdom that we do need to reposition along the beaches and have them ready. Though we do have some time yet before that happens. What are we looking at in terms of numbers for the AOB of the Axis forces? So 2.3 million men ready, 34,000 guns, 2,323 armoured fighting vehicles ready for the Wehrmacht. I'm going to just say that the Italian AFVs, Italian native AFVs, are more or less trash. Though they'll still probably have a number of German forces, German-made AFVs in there. So we do obviously have to bear that in mind. Okay, we'll execute air directive. The good news is, with obviously the reconnaissance, I can retarget the airborne if they need to be retargeted. Right, the Italians obviously gathering the ports and the coastal areas. Okay, so the amount of planes lost was actually below the standard, which is good news, very good news. Let's see, what damage did we cause with the factory damage? And I should be targeting the U-boat production facilities, obviously, for the victory points. But we'll win the game anyway, eventually. It may be very difficult, but we'll eventually win. Okay, so not so bad. Freight, 8th British Army. Okay, received. I mean, that is the good news, that we do have a lot of supply built up, and we're not in much combat at the moment. So you can see here the amount of supplies within these formations is actually increasing due to the fact that they're obviously not having to fight for their lives. Obviously there's low level combat over here, so each of these forces is losing 1% of ammunition per turn. This represents like low level combat, so basically like skirmishes and etc. Right, they do have some fair offensive capabilities, but you can see that Panzer Grenadier Brigade apparently has 79 defense, and the Volkskriegsjäger Division has 102 defense there. So there's absolutely no way in hell that we're going to get through Messina. Absolutely no way. Hell will freeze over before we can get through Messina. Okay. We'll start this being targeted. At least then I can increase the amount of forces. Doesn't hurt, I can always add more forces then. Okay, let's see. Right, these forces are ready to go. Just going to be a few turns before this is ready, probably about 2. So what we can gather from reconnaissance here is that there are at least 2 elements of German Wehrmacht resistance over here, with a 3rd mountaineering division or brigade. Some Italian forces, we do have some Italian airborne, we have more than likely Italian coastal brigades, but nothing in this area as far as we can tell. Now, reconnaissance levels are not great, but not bad. As you can see here, they're using this rail line a hell of a lot. I like how this mode actually shows you a lot of extra details. I like that. I can actually see how much air power they have. Okay, I never really used it like that. Right, so our intel is actually in these areas of here. So we were scouting, obviously, the airfields. So these airfields aren't being used much. They have a few fighters over here, but not much. We do have a good information around this area here. I mean, if we can detect these forces out here, I would have hazarded a guess that we could have detected the forces in this area, should there have been any. So, the idea here now is, air reconnaissance. Okay. Do we go for the invasion? Do we go for the invasion? I think we could. I reckon we can do it. We'll do it. We'll launch an invasion. They'll be landing there next turn, so we need to drop the troops. Okay, launch. Excusez-moi. Okay, well, keep you targeted. Okay, fair enough. Let's hope this goes ahead. So now what we can do is, how much do we have in capacity? 81,000 tons of capacity there. Right, off the train. Have them ready to follow up the invasion. I mean, ultimately having this armored force will be very good. Right. A few losses over here, but not too many. So we'll end our turn here. Our air forces should drop within the Axis turn here. So they are more than likely to be attacked. They may very well be wiped out. But if they're wiped out, their sacrifice will be remembered. Okay. Ultimately, the faster we can clear Sardinia, the better, as it leaves us, gives us access to another 4 level 2 airfields. I can upgrade to level 3 airfields. And it would be quite the formidable basin area, having a port right there, and then a port to the north and another port to the north. Right, there we go. Okay. Okay, we're forced by the defenders, and the airborne landings have been something of a success. And hello there, Grisha, how are you doing? Okay, that could have gone significantly worse, but the main landings have gone ahead successfully. I'm hoping that we do have the capacity to land with the armoured. I doubt it. It may be that we have to take Caligari before we can land the armoured. Even then, that may take some time. I have to hope that the temporary port over here should have the capacity. So we need supply priority here at absolute maximum. And maybe the fact that they can't land in these hexes, but then again we landed over here. Either or, either or. Enemy forces will be heading to this area now ASAP. Probably would have been a hell of a lot better if I waited 2 turns and landed with the other forces, but hey, I need to get things done today. Actually, I'm going to work later on today and organise an event for a couple of lesbians' 50th birthday, so that should be fun. And by fun, I mean real boring. It's fucking boring behind the bar. We did importantly capture 2 airfields there. Right, so losses not so bad at all, really, all considering. Alright, so we're going to keep the same. Right. Yeah, you can see that we're keeping this over here. Ground attack and air superiority. That's good, that works for me. Right, execute. The Rhineland is really suffering heavily under our bombing campaign. Okay. Oh, so this was in France. I should show me the losses inflicted. Most of the airbase. So we do need to target the units a little bit more. Right. Oh, sweet, 27,000 tons of freight. Oh, that is indeed enough. Fantastic. Unload the 6th British Armoured Division. Fantastic. So, here we go. We have about... How many Sherman fleets do we have on the island now? We have 243 Shermans over here. A few reconnaissance Stuarts. A number of priest SPGs, Bren military carriers, universal MG carriers. Sweet, so that's fantastic. That gives us some real hitting power here. Right, so we have the Sardinia Coastal Brigade and a Brigade of Mountain. We should be able to crack that. Well, I say should, they do have 24 defense over here, so that's probably a little bit out of the way for the moment. Supplies. Right, it's priority at 4, so we need to reduce the priority over here at these depots, so we can have more support sent to the Sardinian London. Okay. There we go. So we're going to need more of that. Righto. But we will have to leave it off here for today, so thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope to see you again in the future. And in the next episode, we can begin the, well, invasion of Sardinia proper. I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope to see you all in the future. Goodbye for now.